Hello, I was sorting my game discs today because I was trying to find one and I couldn't find it, so I reorganized them. They were all haphazardly arranged. And I thought I might as well capture what the game discs for all these old PS1, PS2, PS3, and Dreamcast fighting games look like. I used to buy way too many games. I should sell these because I can't even play a lot of them because they're too flashy for my old eyeballs now, but I can't bring myself to. So here goes. This is Virtua Fighter 3TB, the Japanese version. Very minimalistic design. It came in a two-disc case. If I can get this open with one hand. This is the second copy because one of them I got off eBay was scratched. The second disc is Project Berkley, and that is actually a teaser for Shenmue. So there's that little piece of kitsch. I do have some other cases here. Back when I was doing all this buying, when I worked for the man and actually had money to blow, I guess. I threw away all the cases because I lived in a really tiny apartment and I could not fit them in, and I just junked them, and I thought, well, this will prevent me from ever selling them because it kills their value. So I guess that worked. Anyway, I had to rebuy some of them after I sold my Dreamcast collection and wanted some Dreamcast stuff back. So this is Guilty Gear X case for Dreamcast. We've got the case for Capcom vs. SNK 2 for Dreamcast. It's a slightly thicker than average case. The case for Capcom vs. SNK Pro for Dreamcast. And the case for Street Fighter 3 W Impact, which in the States was called, I think, Street Fighter 3 Double Impact. It's a collection of the first Street Fighter 3 and which was just New Generation. Street Fighter 3 New Generation and Street Fighter 3, what was called in Japan Giant Attack, which was called here, oh gosh, I just forgot. I remember this earlier. Street Fighter Double Impact, Giant Attack, I forget. Anyway, there you go. Okay, back to actual discs, continuing the Virtua Fighter stuff. Virtua Fighter 4 US PS2 disc, Virtua Fighter 5 PS3 US disc, which is usually in my PS3. I pulled it out so I could have it here to show. Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution for PS2 US disc, rebought with thoughtful writing from somebody. The Capcom's Versus series, X-Men Children of the Atom, PS1. The second game, Marvel Superheroes for PS1. Third game, X-Men vs. Street Fighter for PS1. Also a little written on. Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, that's, I guess, the fourth. Then Capcom vs. SNK Pro for PS1. I have two of these because one of them bought off eBay was scratched and had problems playing. This is Capcom vs. SNK Pro for Dreamcast, which is usually in my Dreamcast. Capcom vs. SNK 2 for Dreamcast, and then the PS2 version, which I bought after I sold my Dreamcast. I don't remember. Pocket Fighter PS1, Capcom Fighting Jam, the Japanese release, and then the US release retitled Capcom Fighting Evolution with boring design, disc design. Compare those two. Darkstalkers 3 for PS1, which is usually in my PS2, and the Darkstalkers 1 port for PS1, which was so delayed that we didn't get a Darkstalkers 2 for PS1, unlike for Saturn. Capcom let Psygnosis port that one, and it took forever and had problems, so they did the next one themselves. Vampire Darkstalkers collection for PS2, a collection of all the vampire games on PS2. Street Fighter Collection, Disc 1 and Disc 2. This first collection, I think, has Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and Street Fighter Alpha 2 Gold, or whatever it was, I think. And then Street Fighter Collection 2 for PS1 had the first 3 Street Fighter 2 games. So Street Fighter 2 World Warrior, Street Fighter 2, blanking Champion Edition, and Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Street Fighter 2 the movie, a 2-disc thing, a very low resolution version of the animated movie, Street Fighter movie, and then weird quasi just bad fighting game bits where you're a cyborg fighting a Ryu or something. I don't remember. Street Fighter 03, aka Street Fighter Alpha 3. This is the Japanese disc though, so it's 03. That has a world tour mode where you can build up your character and all kinds of stuff like that. Street Fighter Alpha Anthology, the US version, which is a collection of all the Street Fighter Alpha games. Street Fighter Anniversary Collection, which is, I was going to look this up and I forgot to. I think it's Super Turbo, Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo, or Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, sorry, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. I know it's Third Strike. I think it's Super Turbo. I forget that part exactly. But anyway, mostly noteworthy for being the PS2 version of Third Strike. This is the W Impact disc, so Street Fighter 3 W Impact. That's the collection of Street Fighter 3 New Generation, the first one, and Street Fighter 3 Giant Attack, which had a different name in its day. I can't remember. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike for Dreamcast. CVS, or SNK vs. Capcom, CVS Chaos, or SNK vs. Capcom, SVC Chaos for PS2, made by SNK, sort of their version of the crossover. Oh my god, here we go. Of the Capcom vs. SNK games. This is SNK vs. Capcom. SNK was having trouble at the time. It was right before they went bankrupt, basically. This supposedly started left animosity between Capcom and SNK because Capcom regarded SNK as having not put a whole lot of effort into their half of the crossover bargain. Although their Neo Geo Pocket Match of the Millennium game is excellent. King of Fighters 94 Rebout, an interesting version of 94. You can play pretty much the original version in 480p. You can also play a redrawn high definition version, and you can play it also with 3D backgrounds if you want. It seemed like SNK were hoping they could make a profit off of selling redrawn high definition versions of their old Neo Geo games, so they started with 94, which was probably a bad idea, and it probably didn't sell well anyway. It was the last one they tried there, so too bad. King of Fighters 95 for PS1, the US version. King of Fighters 96 for PS1, the Japanese version. King of Fighters 97 for PS1, Japanese disc. King of Fighters Orochi Collection for PS2. This is a collection of KOF 95, 96, and 97. King of Fighters 98 Dream Match Never Ends, the Japanese PS1 version of KOF 98. King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match for Japanese PS2 also came out to US PS2, I think. King of Fighters 99, the North American version for PS1. King of Fighters 2000 for Dreamcast, Japanese Dreamcast. King of Fighters Nests Collection, so like Orochi Collection, which was 95 through 97, Nest's collection is 98, 90, no, wait, no, it's not 98. They skipped 98. It's 99, 2000, and 2001 King of Fighters games on there. King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited match for the Japanese PS2. King of Fighters 2002, wait a second, this was the regular version? I don't remember what version that is. For US, it must be Unlimited match? I don't know. Actually, one of these, maybe that's what this is. I think these two, yeah, these are sequential disc numbers. These two, 2002 and 2003, came in a 2-disc pack at retail for the US. So that's what those are. King of Fighters Neo Wave, which was a port of the Atomus Wave King of Fighters games, which was basically King of Fighters 2002, with a different interface and stuff, and a couple different characters. I think the PS2 version has a sort of interesting survival mode. It's a little too easy. King of Fighters 2003 for Japanese PS2, and then 2003 for the US. It came in that double pack with 2002. King of Fighters 11 or XI for Japanese PS2. Real Bout Special Dominated Mind Disc 1. I think Disc 2 is just a music disc or something. I forget what Disc 2 is. And actually I have these out of order. So that's for Japanese PS1. This disc here, I had to look it up, but it's Garu Densetsu Real Bout or whatever. So it's Fatal Fury Real Bout Fatal Fury, whatever the heck that was, for Japanese PS1. Garu Densetsu Battle Collection or Battle whatever it was, Battle Archives 1 for PS2, and then Battle Archives 2 for PS2. These were collections of the Neo Geo Fatal Fury games. These did come to the US for PS4. These are Japanese PS2 collections. This is the Japanese collection of the Art of Fighting games. I forget the Japanese name of that. The 3 Art of Fighting games for Japanese PS2. And the World Heroes Gorgeous collection for Japanese PS2, a collection of the World Heroes games, the Neo Geo games. Neo Geo Battle Coliseum, which was kind of an interesting, mashup of characters from all bunch of SNK's different fighting games, as well as I think the Metal Slug Alien's in there, who was also in SVC Chaos. I think he's in there. So yeah, big fighting mashup. Pretty bad AI, unfortunately, but 2-player is probably fun. I don't know. I haven't played a 2-player. Foon Super Combo, which is a collection of Neo Geo fighting games made by SNK. It was a separate series, and I had to look this up. So it's the 2 games were Savage Rain, which I think the Japanese name is something like Funmoku Shiroku, and the second game, and that's a weird one. It's it's multi-level, so you can be on 2 different levels in these stages, and it's kind of awkward if you ask me. And then the sequel was Kizuna Encounter Super Tag Battle in the States. It was Foon Super Tag Battle in Japan. That's a pretty decent fighting game. It's got some interesting characters, some not so interesting characters too, maybe. This is okay. I need to pull up my entry on this as well. This is Samurai Spirits Kenkaku Yubinon pack, or I've also seen it just now called Kenkaku Shinon pack. It's a collection for PS1 of the first two Samurai Showdown games, the Samurai Showdown and Samurai Showdown 2. They cut a lot of corners. It's still got horrible load times. The sprites are really low resolution. But anyway, that's what that is. That was hard to find at the time. This was, 15 years ago when I was looking for this on eBay, I think, and it's probably super hard to find now. I don't know. This is Samurai Showdown 3, the Japanese version. Super cool disc design for PS1. This is the much less interesting Sam Show 3 it's Samurai Spirits 3 in Japan, of course. Samurai Showdown 3 for US PS1. This is Samurai Showdown 4 for Japanese PS1. I forget if there's actual additional modes or something, but anyway, it was a special. This is... Okay. This is Samurai Spirits Tenkaichi... No, this is Samurai Spirits... Wait a second. Yeah, Samurai Spirits Shinshu. It's a 3D fighting game. It, I think, is what was known as Warrior's Rage for... Wait, I need to look this up. I have it right here in my notes. Hello. Yeah, it came to the States as Samurai Spirits Warrior's Rage. Okay, so it isn't a port of the Neo Geo 64 arcade game, but it's a sequel to the Neo Geo 64 arcade game. Why I have the Japanese PS1 version, I guess I don't know, but I do. Samurai Spirits Zero, which was known as Samurai Showdown 5 in the States for Japanese PS2. This is Samurai Spirits Tenkaichi Kenkakuden, also known as Samurai Showdown 6, I think, in the States. It was a standalone release on Japanese PS2. In the States, we got the Samurai Showdown Anthology for US PS2, which had all of the Samurai Showdown fighting games up through 6. 6, I think it's 6 on this collection that plays in 480p progressive, so nice and sharp. The other games are blurry and gross interlace, though, so that's really unfortunate. I think this came out, pretty sure this came out on the PS4, so that's a good way to play Samurai Showdown 6 if you want to check that out on PS4. This is a port of Last Blade, the first Last Blade fighting game by SNK for PS1 in Japan. I love that disc design, just the lovely blue. This is a collection of Last Blade 1 and 2 for Japanese PS2. I guess there was also... Was that the one called Final Edition? Because I think I had that for Dreamcast back in the day as well. It had really awesome artwork in the manual. This is my little doubled up Tekken collection. So Tekken Hybrid is a weird thing. It's a Blu-ray movie. It's a CG Tekken movie disc that you can just play in a Blu-ray player. But it's also a game disc for PS3. It's also Tekken Tag Tournament HD. They didn't change the game at all as far as I have been able to tell. I don't own the PS2 Tekken Tag Tournament, but they basically just made it 1080p and kept everything else the same and put it on PS3 via this weird movie disc. So that's Tekken Hybrid. Pretty cool Tekken game though. It's a nice Tekken Tag HD is pretty sweet. It's got Tekken Bowling, which actually is kind of awful, but anyway. Then Tekken 5 for PS2. Of course, there's a downloadable version for PS3 with additional stuff. Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection. This is the original Tekken 5 for PS2 though, which does have some cool stuff. Tekken 6 for PS3. Sengoku Basara X Cross. This is my little Arc System Works disc collection. Sengoku Basara X Cross is a licensed anime fighting game that Arc made. Traced. What were they doing? They were doing, what's that called? Rotoscoping the artwork, the high-res 2D sprites from 3D models. It looks pretty good, but it's not my favorite fighting engine, and some of the characters I wasn't that into. This is Fist of the North Star. What the heck is the Japanese name of that? I don't know. Anyway, it's Fist of the North Star fighting game. Wild fighting game. Still played in Japan. You can find just little arcade tournament videos going up on YouTube. Ridiculous combos. Maybe rather predictably, you can break the AI and beat the AI really easily by spamming certain moves, because there's just too much stuff and too much offense in the game. So as a single player game, bit of a bust. If you really go at it hard, you can just break the AI and beat it easily, but two-player looks pretty wild. Although you can kind of break that too, but I guess that's the point. This is Guilty Gear X for Dreamcast, and then the PS2 US disc, so Dreamcast Japan version, and the US PS2 version, which the US PS2 version seems fine, except that it does not have progressive scan, so it's only in 480i, whereas the Dreamcast version you can play in VGA for a nice 480p. Then we've got rounding out with the Double Dragon Japanese disc of the Double Dragon fighting game, ported from the Neo Geo, based on the live-action movie. So there's a very long intro for the PS1 game, which has footage from the movie, which is kind of cool, actually. And then finally, Masters Fighter for PS1. Just a rip-off of everything they could think of. It's a terrible game. What is this? Cinema Supply? Is the name of the publisher or developer or something? Anyway, terrible fighting game. It's like super low resolution, super chunky. It looks just like somehow also badly digitized or something. There's just stray pixels everywhere. I do have an uncommented video of it, uncommentated video of it on my channel somewhere. Yeah, it's horrible. So that's the end of my discs. That's what I got. All these discs I bought back when I actually had money. So there you go. Can't play most of them now because, especially like the Samurai Showdown games, tons of horrible screen flash effects and so forth. But I can still look at the pretty shiny discs. So that's fun. So there you go. That's it. Thanks for watching this little video, and see you around.